When setting out to make a video about Dartmoor ponies, I thought I knew what I was going to find. I knew there was an ongoing debate about the optimum population size. However, I thought that the only aim of this was to manage the environmental impacts. In reality, I found that there are many much more complex issues surrounding not only the management of ponies, but the ideology and the purpose of our green spaces found across the country. When researching the Dartmoor ponies, one thing that kept coming up again and again was the phrase conservation grazing. This is an oxymoron. The argument for this is that vegetation needs to be kept under control to keep the moorland in its current state. This preserves the wildlife. However, from an environmental perspective, this does not make any sense. Keeping the vegetation under control really just means preventing succession. Succession is the process by which an ecosystem develops over time. If left for long enough, Dartmoor would eventually grow into a deciduous woodland ecosystem. Dartmoor is not a natural landscape. During the Stone Age, Dartmoor was a wooded area, but it was deforested by prehistoric people for easier hunting. This seems like a long time ago, but it shows how significant and long-lasting the impacts humans have on the environment are. This area that is so often considered wild and untamed is an entirely human environment. Returning Dartmoor to its original ecosystem would support more biodiversity and stores more carbon dioxide. Of course, the ponies are not the only thing preventing succession on the moor. Grazing of sheep and cows, and more importantly the practice of swaling, where controlled burning of vegetation takes place to prevent further growth, are also preventing succession. However, there is opposition to proposals of rewilding. National parks aim to look after wildlife and cultural heritage. Dartmoor shows how these can contradict each other. Preserving the heritage of Dartmoor is to keep it as it is, and this is something that many people feel passionate about. But this can be considered detrimental to wildlife, as the moor supports a very low level of biodiversity. Dartmoor is also used for recreation. Allowing the area to become wilder may restrict access. This raises the more philosophical issue of whether wildlife has an intrinsic value that we need to protect for its own sake, or if wildlife only has value in what it can provide for human beings. In the latter case, it seems that the human gains from a rewilded moor would need to be great to outweigh what the moor is currently providing through tourism and farming. Despite where you stand on rewilding of the moor, Dartmoor ponies have undoubtedly been an integral part of Dartmoor heritage since their introduction roughly 3,500 years ago. Over time, the characteristics of the ponies seen on the moor have changed to meet human demands. They can now be split roughly into two groups. Firstly, the traditional Dartmoor breed, who are descended from those who would have roamed the moor in medieval times. However, they are not often found on the moor today, as they are considered a valuable pure breed. The second group is the Dartmoor Hill ponies. These are the ponies that are born and bred on the moor, who probably don't have purebred Dartmoor pony bloodlines. They have an unknown breeding, and many are descendant from Shetland ponies brought to the moor for their usefulness in the mines due to their small size and strength. To protect the heritage of Dartmoor, some believe that Dartmoor Hill ponies should be removed to free up space for the traditional Dartmoor breed. When ponies were needed for mining and transportation, pony farming was economically sustainable. Today there is little demand for ponies, and there are no government incentives for farmers to keep ponies, so it's hard to make a profit. This has led to the reduction in pony population from 30,000 in 1950 to less than 3,000 today. For the ponies to be commercially viable, the supply needs to be reduced, so it does not outweigh demand. There are some proposed solutions to this, with friends of the Dartmoor Hill pony working on the Pony Pill project, which aims to reduce the number of unwanted foals. They are also promoting the consumption of pony meat in an attempt to make the ponies more commercially viable. The ponies provide a good example of the issues of when heritage should find its basis. Should all crossbreeds be removed, or are they also part of the heritage? Or should all ponies be removed to return the landscape back to its wild, natural state? This example of the ponies is part of a much larger debate about rewilding of landscapes, which would greatly increase the amount of biodiversity, but for many, the moor, in its current state, has great sentimental value, as well as economic value in farming and tourism. However, a woodland ecosystem stores a lot more carbon dioxide, and in a world where climate change is our greatest challenge, the carbon capture potential of rewilding is greatly needed.